Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places you could be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. It is that time of year. It's finally arrived. It's Christmas time, and what happened to 2025 is beyond me. Seems like just yesterday, we were swearing in Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden, the year's over with. It's like whiplash. Look, the older you get, sadly, the faster time seems to go by. So for all you youngsters out there, please soak it up every chance you get. Make sure you are every day trying to make as many memories as you can with your family and friends. Because one day you realize that time went by really, really fast. And for me, at least, I don't know about you guys, but 2025 for me seems like it was just a blur. It really, really went by quickly. And here we are. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. So we will not be doing the show on a Thursday because obviously it's Christmas. And we will be traveling, seeing family and friends out of town. We'll be back by Sunday and plan to be back on the air on Tuesday. So I hope you're joining us then. Tonight's going to be a little different. We're only going to talk about really two newsworthy stories. And then I'm going to share with you a personal story. One that only a few of you out there have ever heard before, with the exception of my friends that watch the show that I deployed with in combat operations. They have their own particular stories about this situation that we're going to talk about. And anyone that's ever been deployed through the holidays will be able to relate to this. But I felt with the holidays here and with Christmas, why not share with you a little bit about my Christmas during Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. So first, let's dive into, I don't know if you saw this or not, but it was an interview that Hunter Biden just gave on the Sean Ryan show. So first, let me tell you that over the past, let's say 5+ years, I've been very critical of former President Joe Biden's crackhead son, Hunter Biden. Anyone who watches this show knows how I feel about Hunter Biden and his dad, Joe. Now, those on the left and the liberal Democrats trash me for calling out the obvious failures of Joe and Hunter Biden. Of course, they claimed that I was a liar and I was making it all up. And one of the biggest issues with Joe Biden with me was his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. A withdrawal that, in my personal opinion, and those of, I would say, 99.9% of all U.S. military combat veterans, puts Joe Biden in the category of the word treason. The way the withdrawal was handled will go down in American history as basically a surrender of our country to our enemy. Not only was it a strategic failure, but it got 13 more U.S. troops killed because of the way that it went down. It was done in a way that left thousands of American citizens behind to be killed by the Taliban. And we left billions of dollars worth of military equipment to fall in the hands of our enemy. Hence why I categorize this as treason. That's aiding and abetting the enemy, which is treason. Former President Joe Biden and his Joint Chiefs of Staff, in my personal opinion, could and should be charged with treason. As for the border, well, I've been talking about Joe Biden's failures there too, to which the left claims that I don't know what I'm talking about. But the liberal left and the liberal Democrats who trashed me and sided with Joe and Hunter Biden, well, might be in for a rude awakening tonight. Because Hunter Biden, their beloved son of the former president, just agreed with me and everything I've been telling you. So now will they turn on Hunter Biden for agreeing with me and other conservatives out there? Or just remain silent on the issue? Well, Hunter Biden criticized his father, Joe's, quote, in his words, obvious fucking failure on Afghanistan in the new interview. Hunter Biden told podcaster Sean Ryan that while his father did his job exceedingly well, he thought, he 100% had some real failures. Hunter Biden, son of former President Joe Biden, commented in a new interview on his father's lax immigration policy, as well as his handling of the withdrawal of the U.S. troops from Afghanistan. The former first son appeared on Sean Ryan's show that aired yesterday, when he asserted that while his father did exceedingly well as far as being a president, he 100% had real failures as well. I think one of the failures was the way in which they executed the withdrawal from Afghanistan. I think it was an absolute, his words, fucking failure. He told Ryan, I think 13 Marines are dead because of it. I think there was a better way to do it. Where'd you hear that from? Following the Biden administration's 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan, a 2022 report from the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, revealed that the Taliban seized more than $7 billion worth of equipment U.S. troops left in the country. And you may recall that the Biden-Harris administration then lied and claimed that our military destroyed all the equipment to where the Taliban couldn't reuse it. And of course, we know from all the military members that testified in front of Congress that that was not true at all. They did start off trying to destroy some of it, but it was in such a rush, get out of here, that they just didn't get a chance to destroy it all. In fact, they only destroyed not even a quarter of it. The rest, Black Hawk helicopters, generators, thousands and thousands of pallets of water, MREs, clothing, small arms, whether it be 9mm, M16s, fuel, oil, Humvees, just billions of dollars worth of good equipment fall right into the hands of our enemy. Also, the 13 U.S. service members that were killed by ISIS-K suicide bomber at the Kabul International Airport while attempting to process Afghanistan's fleeing the country. Hunter Biden said that although he could blame it on his generals, he said his father knew that the buck stops with him and reiterated the operation was a failure. He clarified that I think leaving Afghanistan was the right thing to do, but was understanding from Ryan's frustration when he told the former first son, I cannot fucking stand the way Afghanistan withdrawal happened. I hear your anger about it, Hunter Biden responded. And I don't have any response to it other than the fact that I know that my dad came from the position that 20 years was enough. And it was not in the interest of anyone in the United States, particularly those that are serving, to continue to turn people through. Earlier in the interview, the former first son also torched his father's lax immigration policy, which saw the unauthorized immigration population in the U.S. soar to an all-time high of approximately 14 million in 2023. In the middle of the Biden administration, we need vibrant immigration. We don't want immigrants that are coming here illegally, draining us of our resources and being prioritized above people that are actually literally heroes, as in our veterans. They're still recovering from 20 years of endless wars or anybody else in our society, he said. That was from Hunter Biden himself. So here is a little snippet of the interview for you to hear yourself.
And he had mistakes like every other president's had. Some that I may disagree with, but absolutely 100% had some real failures also.
What do you think some of those failures were?
I think one of the failures was the way in which they executed the withdrawal from Afghanistan. I think it was an obvious fucking failure. I think 13 Marines are dead. I think that there was a better way to do it. And I think that, I can blame it on his generals. I can blame it on the people, the way in which we did it. But my dad always knew this also, is that the buck stops with him. I think that was a failure. I don't think leaving Afghanistan, a vibrant immigration, but we don't want immigrants that are coming here illegally, draining us of resources, and also and being prioritized above people that are actual literal heroes that are coming home, or that are still recovering from 20 years of endless war, or anybody else in our society.
Wow. Hunter Biden just told you the same thing I was telling you. You told me I was full of crap. So, I don't know. Is your golden child now? Are you against him? Because he agreed with Douglas Ducote and all the other conservatives and Republicans across YouTube and Rumble and social media platforms and Fox News and so on and so on. Every time I talked bad about Hunter Biden, you all told me how Hunter Biden was just damn near your hero. Or your hero just told you what I've been saying all along. It was a massive 4-year cluster from hell under his daddy and that laughing hyena he had as a vice president. Okay. A little bit of good news coming up. The first CEO of the Internal Revenue Service is reinforcing signals from the Trump administration that Americans could soon see the biggest tax refund ever in the new year. We should expect exactly what the president said. As always happens, Frank Bezio, also the Commissioner of Social Security Administration, said on Mondays with Maria earlier today. And the great leadership of the Treasury Secretary has positioned us to be able to deliver in a whole bunch of ways for America. He confirmed that the major tax refunds are expected in 2026, echoing President Donald Trump's end-of-year address last week, in which he predicted the largest tax refund season of all time in American history next spring, and said many families could see between $11,000 and $20,000 a year. You're going to look at probably 94% plus of middle-class Americans getting a boost, your tax rates coming down, and getting the benefit going forward, the IRS CEO said. You'll see our Social Security recipients getting up to $6,000 in benefits, as Trump commented on the benefits of Social Security not being taxed. He continued, it will be the biggest refund that we've ever seen, and it's all because of the president's leadership and the Treasury Secretary under the one big beautiful bill, which is one of the best things that ever happened for us, the taxpayer. He noted that the newly dubbed Trump Accounts, a sweeping savings initiative for children, will begin accepting contributions on July 4th of 2026. It's one of the most amazing pieces of tax work that's ever been done in American history. If you think about it, $1,000 today will be worth $500,000 at age 60. The comments come as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett both said that the administrations expect larger refunds and higher take-home pay next year as Americans continue to voice concerns about affordability. We're going to see the biggest refund cycle ever in the history of America, and people are going to get massive refund checks, as it said in an interview on Varney and Company. We're expected just that part of it alone to be worth a couple $1,000 refund. The numbers are striking. There are going to be substantial refunds to working American households in the first quarter. We're going to see very substantial 100 to 150 billion of refunds in the first quarter that will go directly to Americans' pockets. Now, just prior to coming on the air tonight, one of my critics sent me a message saying that he just heard from the Social Security and Treasury Secretary people that were just giving an interview saying that we're not going to get all this money that Trump says we're going to get because Congress has the purse and Trump can't make these decisions and give us all this money. Well, no shit. You see, no president has that authority. But when a president, whether it's Democrat or Republican, has the House and the Senate, they're going to go along with what the president says as far as if it's going to be good for the American people. If the president says, I'm going to give everyone, American citizen, a $2,000 check from the tariff money, and in this case, he's a Republican president and he has the House and the Senate, you think the House and the Senate Republicans are going to say, no, that's not happening, sir? Now, if it was a divided Congress, that might be the case. Be no different if it was a Democrat president that had the House and Senate as well. Whatever he says, the Democrats are going to do if it's something that's going to benefit the American people. So for those that think it's not going to happen, well, it won't happen if we wait till after midterms, and if at midterms, God forbid, Democrats won back either the House or the Senate. Of course it won't happen. They will go buck anything that Trump does. But if he tells you he's going to give all our service members a $1,776 check coming up here real soon, he's not writing the check. Congress has the purse for that, and Congress is going to make sure they get that check. Same thing goes for the $2,000 he said he's going to give the American people next year. That's coming from the tariff money. Congress makes that choice. They're not going to go against Donald Trump saying that's what we're going to do with some of this money. That would be political suicide. Because we, the people, would go, what? Why would you be against us getting this small token that kind of just reminds us of how broke we really are? Because $2,000, but for some people, $2,000 is a lot of damn money. But the point is, yes, Congress controls the purse. And when Congress is the same party as the president, when the president says something, they typically, throughout history of America, fall in line with what the president says. So believe whatever you want, but if you think it's stupid, if you think it's not going to happen, if you're going to complain about it just because Donald Trump's doing it, then please don't cash your check. Please. Just put return to sender, send it back to the government so it can go towards our debt. And we leave it at that. It's pretty much a no-brainer if you ask me. Now, I want to talk about Christmas. I want to get off of politics for the rest of tonight's show. And I want to get a little personal with you. I want to, at the end of all my shows, I ask you to pray for our men and women that are deployed in the military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, because it is them that keep us safe. It's because of them that we're allowed to have Christmas. that we're allowed to go out and buy gifts for family and friends, that we're allowed to travel, that we live in a free country relatively to the rest of the countries out there. Do we have problems in America? Oh, well, you better believe we do. But unless you've been to other countries across this planet, then you really don't have anything to, I guess, bitch about or complain about or try and say that it's not true. And there are so many people on the left, especially the liberals, that believe that we're just such a horrible country because they've never been anywhere else. They don't realize how good we have it. And it is this time of year, Thanksgiving that we just had pass, and now Christmas, that reminds me more and more about what our service men and women go through mentally, being deployed instead of being home with their families and wondering what tomorrow will bring. You know, they're training for combat. And in some situations, they are in combat as I speak, trying to root this planet of evil. And that fight, sadly, happens to be happening right here in America as well. Thanks to what we experienced with the 4 years on the open border, we know that we have terrorist cells in America that are waiting to do us harm. And of course, we have the horrible people that were allowed to come across the border that aren't, quote, terrorists, but yet they're drug dealers and sex trafficking of women and children and gang members and just bad elements of society that we're trying to capture, round up, and get them out of here. All right. But it is this time of year that I think a lot about. I put myself in the boots of the men and women that are on the ground serving, whether it's here in America or it's in a foreign country. Having been in both the military as well as in law enforcement, in both jobs, in law enforcement, when you first start out, you know, typically your first couple of years, you're not going to have off any holidays. That's for senior people after you've been there a while. As new people start coming in behind you, more and more you can start having off for the holidays. But my first few years at the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office, when I worked in law enforcement, there wasn't no such thing as being off for the holidays. I had to work Thanksgiving, I had to work Christmas, I had to work New Year's. And in the military, the same thing. For Operation Just Cause, I was deployed in Central America for that conflict. In Desert Storm, Desert Shield, I was deployed for that conflict over Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I want to take you back to and share a little story with you about my Christmas in 1990 over in the deserts of the Middle East, and share with you how this very small token of appreciation for the troops, a little small gift, became such a huge shining light, glimmer of hope, not just for me, but for everyone in my unit that I was serving with. It's the little things in life that we so often take for granted, and we just We go through life with so many easy things, whether it's turning on a TV, sleeping in a warm bed, air conditioning in the summertime, heat in the wintertime, being able to drive an automobile, the holidays, all these little things that we take for granted. So, first, let me take you back to the lead up to that Christmas of 1990, so you can understand why this little gift was such a big deal to me and the men and women that I was serving with. On August 2nd of 1990, Saddam Hussein sent his Iraqi military forces to invade and conquer the peaceful country of Kuwait. The world watched in horror, knowing full well that he had been accused of war crimes against his own countrymen in northern Iraq's Kurdish region. But the full-scale horrors of his war crimes were not really known by most people. I, for one, was clueless. But what now would he do in a full-scale invasion from another country if he had done something to hurt his own country people? These war crimes supposedly committed. And you must think that back then we didn't have cell phones and iPads and home computers. We had newspapers. Back then, I was a young soldier stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. I'd just come back from deployment and Operation Just Cause down in Panama. And I'll remind you, we didn't have the internet. We had newspapers. When you were at home, you had ABC, NBC, and CBS. And if you did have cable television coming into your home, you had CNN, which is not the same CNN as we have today, the fake CNN. As for looking up anything and doing research, you turn to your local bookstore or public library. One thing I learned from my father, who served during the Korean and Vietnam Wars, is that to win a war, you must know your enemy, their strengths, tactics, and past combat engagements. Within 2 weeks of the invasion, it became obvious to everyone in the U.S. military, myself included, that America was going to get involved and soon. So in my free time, I went to our public library and I looked up everything that I could find about Iraq, about Saddam Hussein, and about his military. There are books on the subject, and this thing called microfiche. Those of you that are around my age, I'm 63, know exactly what a microfiche is. This was a state of the art in the early years before Google. This allowed you to pull up and view newspaper articles, documents, photographs, records, tech manuals, government files. And it was all in this little thing that if you just picked it up and looked at it, you really couldn't make out what it even said or did until you put it under this light. And you name it, you could find it. Now, it was very time consuming, to say the least. But the more I found, the deeper I went into this rabbit hole, let's say. And what I was finding about the leader of Saddam Hussein, the leader of Iraq, scared the living daylights out of me. To me, he was subhuman because he deployed chemical weapons against his own people, non-combatants, women, children, their pets, all living things. In northern Iraq, in the city of Hajra, multiple times in 1987 and 1988. He used sarin, turbine, VX, and mustard gas. killing approximately 100,000 innocent people, his own people. This was and still is today the largest chemical weapons attack against civilians in history on planet Earth. This was a true genocide of mass proportions. These attacks were to depopulate northern Iraq of Kurdish inhabitants and to squelch the possible uprising against him. Also, during the Iran-Iraq War of 1980 through 1988, he used chemical weapons extensively on the battlefield. Bottom line, he was a sick and twisted, evil, subhuman parasite, as far as I was concerned. Now loaded with this information, I took it back to the soldiers of my unit and started spreading the word, just in case our unit was called to deploy into this nightmare. Of course, our leaders said we had nothing to worry about because of our extensive training with MOP gear. MOP stood for Mission-Oriented Protective Posture. It was a system used to protect us if we were to go into chemical warfare. It would protect you from chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. You put on this system over your uniform. And it included a protective heavy-duty shirt, pants, rubber boots, and gloves, and a mask with hood to go over your head and your face. We trained to use this system during basic training, and that was about it. Most of us had not used it or even seen the system in years. But that was all about to change fast when our unit and every unit at Fort Hood, Texas, got activated to deploy to Saudi Arabia for what became Operation Desert Shield. We spent the next few weeks putting on and off this system in record time, literally in under minutes. So great. We now remember how to use it, but can we trust it? And if we go to war with this madman, will this system work? Now, you see, to us in the military, we knew that the U.S. government puts out bids to contractors for everything they bought. And the lowest bidder gets the contract. That even includes making our chemical weapons suit. But it was all we had. Just days before we were deployed, within all the thousands of briefings and paperwork we were giving and watching the nightly news, we could clearly see that damn near every United States military unit was deploying. Thousands of troops, aircraft, fighters, bombers, refuelers, helicopters, ships, everything in the U.S. arsenal, every type of unit. It was all going to Saudi Arabia on this massive deployment. But wait, how many units did our military have that were trained in how to decontaminate us if we were hit with chemical weapons? That was the million-dollar question. You see, in the deserts of the Middle East, when it gets to 130 degrees, and you're in this full MOP gear, if you're not drinking water on a regular basis, and we had this little tube that came out and you could stick it in your canteen and drink water, you will dehydrate quickly and then die. Well, if you got chemically attacked, you have to wait for a military decontamination unit to come and decontaminate your entire unit. Spray you down with this chemical stuff that gets rid of it, what's on you, and all your equipment, so you can take this gear off to breathe fresh air again. Otherwise, you would die. So, if you're going to have all these units going up against a country that's got chemical weapons, if they use the chemical weapons, what are you going to do? Well, we didn't have enough decontaminating units. Not even close. I mean, there would be literally hundreds of thousands of American service members, even if the suit worked and it kept us alive from the chemical attack, we would die of dehydration in the suit before we could be decontaminated to breathe fresh air again. The units just didn't exist to the scale that we needed. Now, the Pentagon knew this, and the President of the United States knew this. So what they did, which we didn't know at the time, and we of course find out later through history of how all this went down, was basically we told Saddam Hussein that if you use chemical weapons against our troops, we would use tactical nuclear weapons and annihilate Baghdad and everybody in it. And that worked. Not a single Iraqi military unit, although they had the chemical weapons there to load in the shells, in the missiles, in the Scuds, used chemical weapons against us. They were ordered not to use them. Because Saddam now saw this massive buildup of hundreds of thousands of U.S. forces and coalition forces from all these other countries ready to come in and remove him from what he had done to Kuwait. Bottom line, with all of this information that I had learned about Saddam's past use of chemical weapons against his own people, he would surely use them against us. Our unit that I was in deployed April 11th, 1990. And in my mind, it was a one-way trip. I would die in the Middle East if war was to break out and chemical weapons were to be used. So imagine that as a young soldier. You say goodbye to your family and friends, knowing that you're going to go to war against the madman who has chemical weapons, doesn't care about the Geneva Convention, and has used those weapons to kill hundreds of thousands of his own people. What's he going to do to us? Well, throughout the deployment, our family and friends back home were allowed to send us care packages. But so was the general public. There was this big, huge drive to support the troops. One like we haven't seen since. In a way, America was feeling guilty for the way they treated the returning veterans from the Vietnam War. The last big support of the troops was after the Second World War when they returned. Ticker-tack parades and welcome them back. Everything from that point on, things just kind of went downhill. And it was like America was set to thank us and welcome us back with open arms. People were tying yellow ribbons around trees. And everybody was putting together care packages. Anything from baby wipes, gum, candy, homemade cookies, magazines, you name it. We got these care packages. And they were addressed to any service member because the people didn't know who was going to get it. As we got closer to Christmas, we received more and more of these packages. Literally, some days, everybody in the unit got 2 or 3 packages. from home. About 2 days before Christmas, I opened one of these packages. And inside this package was a tiny Christmas tree. A Christmas tree. Something that we take for granted. It had tinsel, bulbs, even the Star of David. I set it up in our tent. And this little tree became the center of our humanity. A Christmas tree. In this godforsaken desert, awaiting the evils of war, made our lives a little more bearable than the days prior to its arrival. I looked at it then and I look at it now as, well, as a Christmas miracle. Because that's what it was. That's what it represented. Soldiers from our unit would come by our tent. On each tent, we had about 8 to 10 people in it. And they would just sit there and stare at this little tree, especially at night. For those brief moments, it allowed your thoughts to drift away from what we were about to face. The unknown, chemical warfare, a certain death, the horrors of war. And instead, it allowed you to think about past time with family and friends back home. This little tree was a glimmer of hope of humanity, of peace on earth, and goodwill to man. While all along knowing what was to come. We didn't talk amongst ourselves too much about dying and whether or not we were going to live once this war kicked off. But we all knew in the back of our heads what Saddam Hussein was capable of and what he had done to his own countrymen. So, if you can just imagine, here it is, the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. I set this little tree up in our tent. What this little tree meant to all of us. One of the things that I did a lot while I was over there was I took pictures. Everything I could possibly take pictures of. I've always loved taking pictures, big camera buff. If you've ever went to my Facebook profile, you can see lots of pictures that I took on deployments all over the world. I always had a camera with me. I've always taken shots, taken pictures of everything we did. And probably the best picture I ever took in my life, really, that I am so happy that I did and was so blessed that I did, was sitting with that little tree on Christmas Eve, the night of Christmas Eve. My thoughts all over the place. And my friends, that is the picture. And that's the little tree. That's me sitting there with the Army PT shirt on. We'd been there since October. By then, we have found all kinds of ways to make our living conditions a little better. We had managed to get our hands on some wood and built little tables and put in a floor to where we weren't living directly on the sand anymore. And there sat that tree. That little tree made all of us in our unit thankful to be born in the greatest country on earth. Those of us that weren't very religious were thinking about what's to come. What will happen if this war kicks off? And on Christmas Eve, we were all thinking about, is this our last Christmas on earth? Because it very well could be. I wish me and my buddy there had been smiling for the picture. But if you can just imagine what I've shared with you so far, smiling was difficult. But that little tree was that glimmer of hope that somehow, maybe, possibly, we're going to make it through this. And we're going to come out the other side. So, my friends, I want you to always remember that no matter what you're going through in life, no matter how difficult times get, especially during the holidays, especially for our veteran community, more veterans, combat veterans, take their lives, their own lives, on the 24th and the 25th of December than at any other time throughout the rest of the year because of what they've been through. And they reach a point where they just can't go anymore. To my brothers and sisters out there that I served with, and to those that I didn't serve with, but you served, you know where I'm coming with this. You know what's in my heart. We've managed to get here to this point in life, and all those that have gone before us want us to continue to push forward. And I want you all to remember that when you get down and sit down with your family and friends tomorrow and Christmas Day. Take a moment to think about all those deployed throughout the world that don't have the opportunity to be home for Christmas. And wonder not just what tomorrow brings for them, but what the next hour brings, or in some cases, the next minutes. It is because of America's military and the veterans that have served throughout numerous conflicts throughout our history that you will be able to have Christmas tomorrow and the following day, and that you're able to live in the freest and best country on God's earth. And unless you've been to other countries like I have, those are just words. But for those that have been there and done that, they're way more than just words. It's reality. We all go through trying times, especially come the holidays. And you've got this, whether you're a veteran or you work at Walmart or the post office, or you're a construction worker or a carpenter or a laborer or work in a restaurant, you're a waiter or waitress. Doesn't matter. We all go through trying times, and more so during the holidays. So please look out for one another. Be thankful for what you have. It's more important to give than it is to receive. And we will get through everything that we have in front of us. And hopefully, in the coming years, humanity will become greater. And we will be able to look back and obviously see our failures and obviously see the pain and suffering that we've been through as Americans, but look forward to a brighter future, as I did with that little Christmas tree. I'll see you back here next Tuesday. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed Christmas. From all of us at Team Ducote, our moderators, John and Wayne and Sherry and Doc, we wish you all a Merry, Merry Christmas, and hope that no matter what, you continue to push forward and thrive to do good by mankind. And in return, God will have your six and help you see through it to bigger and better days ahead. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, my friends. And please stay tuned for the next 5 minutes and 23 seconds for something very, very special. Good night.
I'm able to see Lisa Raj from the Stephen Center. I'd like to wish Merry Christmas to my family back in San Diego. Miss y'all, love y'all. Merry Christmas.
Hello, I'm Airman First Class Wheeler from 3 to 8 months. I'd like to wish my mom and dad a Merry Christmas from Smyrna Beach, Florida. Miss you. I love you guys.
Hey, it's A1C Trent over at the Sustainment Center. Just want to say Merry Christmas to my family back in Houston, Texas. Miss y'all and I love y'all. See ya.
Hi, I'm Airman Sinistar from the 729 ACS. I'd like to wish a Merry Christmas to my mom, my dad, and all my family back home in Detroit. I miss you and I love you.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Schaefer from Public Affairs of the 75th Air Base Wing. I want to wish a Merry Christmas to my mom and dad and my brothers, and I love you guys so much, and happy holidays to everybody at Hill.
Hello, I'm Airman Mistel from the 729 ACS, and I'd like to wish a Merry Christmas to my mom from home back in Chicago. So I miss you, I love you.
Merry Christmas. I'm A1C Jetson from 3 Base Squadron. Shout out to California, to my cousins. Merry Christmas.
A1C Luger from the 75th LRS. Just want to shout out Sergeant Bragg. He's my favorite supervisor. Merry Christmas.
I'm A1C Miles Jones from 729 ACS. I'd like to wish a Merry Christmas to my family from back home, my students in the Grenadines. Thank you.
I'm Carl Green from CMS. I'd like to wish a Merry Christmas to my family and Utah and Florida this year.
My name is Trevor Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director for 75th Motorsport Squadron. Just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Hey to my family,
everyone's home, enjoying the holiday break. So, Merry Christmas to everyone at Team Hill.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Jairus Howard with the Arkansas National Guard, and I want to wish my family and the great state of Arkansas a Merry Christmas.
All right, I'm Sergeant First Class Josh Hines, and I want to wish everybody in Cabot, Arkansas a very Merry Christmas.
I'm Captain Katiana Butler with the Arkansas National Guard, and I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to my friends and family back in Eudora, Arkansas.
Hi, my name is Daniel Deviney, and I'd like to say Merry Christmas to all my friends and family in Lone Oak, Arkansas.
Hey, I'm Sergeant Eli Prell with the Arkansas National Guard, and I just want to wish the friends and family in Malvern a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Command Sergeant Major James Sanders, I want to wish everybody a very happy and Merry Christmas to Fayetteville, Arkansas.
My name is Mason Lavender with the Arkansas National Guard. I would like to wish Searcy, Arkansas a Merry Christmas.
My name is First Lieutenant Ashley Patchell, and I would like to wish Conway, Arkansas a Merry Christmas.
I'm Sergeant James Wade from Little Rock, Arkansas, Arkansas National Guard. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Specialist Frankie Fuentes from the Arkansas National Guard. I'd like to wish Cabot a very Merry Christmas.
Hi, my name is Sergeant First Class Victoria Stokes from the U.S. Army NATO from Simbach, Germany. I want to say Merry Christmas to my family and friends in Virginia. Love you, Grandma Tessie.
Hey, I'm Tech Sergeant Lubert, deployed to the Middle East. I just want to give a big shout out to my kids, Gavin and Shelby Walker. Love you so much. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hafaday, I'm Chief Master Sergeant Kaylani Mendiola, currently deployed to the Middle East. I'd like to say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year's to my family and friends back home. Love and miss you.
Hi, I'm Specialist David Osuna, currently deployed in Poland. I want to say Happy Holidays to my wife, family, and friends. Go Cowboys.
I'm Captain Ben Gilstrap here with HHC 112 Cav, wishing you a Merry Christmas to my family back home in Georgia.
I'm Specialist Addison Hart here in Camp Herkus, Lithuania. I want to say Merry Christmas and I love you to all my friends and family at home, my little sisters and my little brother. I'm Specialist Addison Hart here in Camp Herkus, Lithuania. I want to say Merry Christmas and I love you to all my friends and family at home, my little sisters and my little brother.
Hi, my name is Mayor Lanzo from Loíza, Puerto Rico. I'm currently stationed with the Mobilization Support Brigade in Fort Hood, Texas. I would like to wish my wife, Adriana Villarreal, and all my families and friends all over the world happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad.
I'm Specialist 1 with the Mobilization Support Brigade here at Fort Hood, Texas. I want to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to all my family back home in East Tennessee.